This is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. We're back after a week off. Greg's been on vacation, got yourself a little bit of a tan. Meanwhile, I'm huddling for warmth in Austin, Texas.
It's still warmer in Austin than it is in Kansas City, so don't give me too much.
Don't give me too much, except for you have, infrastructure for this. This is ridiculous. It's been a well-publicized public nightmare. I have power right now, which is fantastic. It has not been that way most of the week, as I struggle to stay warm and post stories and keep the Produce Reporter running.
Texas is the national nightmare because it's historically bad weather. It's terrible. I have gone to Texas, South Texas, both Austin and San Antonio in January and February before. And it's a beautiful place because it's 40 degrees warmer than Kansas City. And now we got you by about 5 degrees.
Yeah, something like that. We just surpassed here in the Austin area the longest stretch of below freezing ever. I think we're 141 hours or something like that. But the long stretches of cold here are causing logistical nightmares, sure, but I talked to some grower shippers down in the Rio Grande Valley, and they had 12 and 16-hour stretches of cold weather, which pretty much flattened a lot of the crops that are going on right now. Just for a refresher, we've got cabbage, Napa cabbage, chard, kale, dill, cilantro, and then of course the onions coming up, and Texas citrus. All of those were affected by freezing cold temperatures, and we did have a little precipitation down there, nothing like what we've got here in Austin, but mostly it was the cold. And right now they're in a wait and see to see if any of the plants can bounce back from this. Onions possibly could bounce back. Citrus, it depends on how many grapefruit and oranges were harvested ahead of the freeze. We did have some notice. We knew that this was coming. The severity and the duration, however, have been pretty surprising. But this time of year is a real challenge for citrus growers because they've got fruit on the tree, but then also bloom for next season. So it looks like some of the bloom for next season was affected, and there will be lower volumes next season for citrus. So the rest of the crops, though, it's wait and see a week, maybe 2 weeks before we know what's going to happen.
And the other side of the problems in Texas are the transportation problems, because I know where you live, the streets are ice. And where I live, when they turn to ice, we have trucks with salt and plows. And there's still snow on my street, but once you get out either side to a main street, there's no snow, no ice. And in Texas, that's not the case.
Yeah, if you looked on social media, there were some pretty dramatic photos of, Interstate 35, which is pretty much the lifeline through Texas. And you could cross-country ski on it. And that was more than a day after it snowed. We just don't have the infrastructure to get out there and plow. They did put down some de-icing solution before we had an ice storm, but that was a week ago. But it's still here. I mean, I'm looking out my front door here and my driveway is ice. But here's the thing, Saturday and Sunday, it'll be gone. It'll be completely gone. But the issue is that we're having a kind of a bit of a retail apocalypse. And one of the local retailers here, of course, H-E-B, is everybody loves H-E-B, and they have a fantastic disaster response. But even so, they're only open 5 hours a day right now, and the line goes around the building. And if you look at any of the neighborhood groups, it is, does the store have bread, milk, eggs? Do they have any dry goods? We're at the point of the initial pandemic panic shopping. But we joke about when in the Midwest that a storm is coming, what's the French toast forecast? How many loaves of bread are you going to buy ahead of it? Texans don't know that forecast, and a lot of them didn't stock up. Even in my own house, I'm a bit of a pantry hoarder. I have a lot of food. I'm shopping my pantry for my neighbors and leaving bags of food on my porch for people to come pick up because they can't get to the store. It's crazy. And I talked to Dante Gagliazzi from the Texas International Produce Association, And he said that some of the logistics issues that we're having, trucks backhauling from Dallas down to the valley, are getting stuck and not being able to get down there to turn around loads to get out of the valley that are coming in through Mexico, or even just that are sitting in warehouses. It'll be at least a week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks before we see the supply chain catch up to get a lot of this stuff shopped through.
So do you think once the stores get resupplied and people get out, do you think they're going to panic shop because they've run out of stuff and they don't have food? Or are they going to realize, looking at the weather forecast, that it's going to be in the 60s and 70s for the next 2 weeks, so we're not going to have a problem?
You know what? Right now, people it's really heartwarming to see neighbors coming together and helping each other. We've got a lot of these interconnected Facebook groups and people making runs for people. But I still feel like as soon as the road is clear enough to go to the store, people are going to buy everything in sight. I have this feeling that that's what's going to happen. And stores do have, we've got boil water orders in a lot of the areas here right now. So there's limits on how much you can buy, especially bottled water, and then the bread, eggs and milk situation. So I can't help but see people going in and panic buying. We're going to see a huge bump in sales of what's available for at least another week. And then afterward, once the supply chain keeps up, I think people are going to line their pantries a little heavier than they had before because they got caught off guard without extra food.
All right, well, let's shift gears and talk about your other big popular story of the week, and it involves TikTok and a certain feta tomato pasta, which, first of all, I have to ask, have you made it yet?
Well, I can't get to the store.
Oh, that's your excuse.
No, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I baked feta with tomatoes and broccolini based on a recipe from the New York Times Cooking. And then this other baked feta thing went viral. I saw the Lori Taylor from the Produce Moms making it, and I was really curious. And then it's like every person I know has made it. It's basically cherry tomatoes with a brick of feta in the middle. So you see this beautiful picture of the sea of tomatoes with the feta and a couple of cloves of garlic and some herbs. You bake it and then you mix it all together and throw it on pasta. I have not gotten a chance to make it yet. Well, part of the reason is that brick feta is sold out everywhere. But that's not the only thing that this is showing a market noticeable impact on sales. The Produce Marketing Association pulled some numbers for the week that this went viral, which was week ending January 24th, and they saw almost 30% year-over-year sales increase in cherry tomatoes. When we talk about, I can remember talking to retailers back in the day about the Sunday ad or the Parade magazine, the big recipe of the week in Parade magazine, and always getting caught off guard. Take Parade magazine and multiply it by, what factor do you think? 10 times, 20 times of the readership of what that could reach?
Are you serious that you think it's that big? Because everyone used to get the Sunday paper.
Everyone used to get the Sunday paper.
A generation.
Yeah, a generation ago. Nowadays, it's not impactful at all. I can't remember the last time I read Parade magazine. I quit my paper subscription of paper maybe 5-10 years ago, something like that, because I got tired of the paper. But the millions and millions of people that are on TikTok, because this isn't just a United States thing. This is going on in other countries as well. What's driving it too, I think, is really interesting is that it's typically younger shoppers that are seeing these recipes. And then it trickles up into old people's social media, including Facebook, and maybe Instagram, not quite as old people. But once it started hitting Facebook and we see people like my aunts and my grandma and somebody like that talking about it, then you've reached the Parade magazine generation.
We're not on TikTok because the Chinese steal all your data on that one.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok right now either. But I really think that a lot of brands need to take a look at what their strategy is for TikTok to see. that this has gone so viral so quickly. And I even read some articles about how food TikTok is so popular right now. So they will boost you in their algorithm. So you could have no followers and have a TikTok video go viral. Even just think about the dude who was on his skateboard drinking ocean spray, cran grape or whatever. And then Ocean Spray bought him a truck. It's like, but everyone knew about the Fleetwood Mac guy. And it was from TikTok. This kind of stuff goes viral extremely fast. And it reminds me of journalism school and failing a class because I argued with the professor that he said there's no such thing as mass communication anymore. And I said, no, there's always going to be a way. And I'm pretty sure we found it, but the problem is it's a moving target and you never know which mass communicator is going to reach the most people at what time. It's gotta be pretty nimble about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe next week I'll dig into some big stories. Now that I'll be stateside for the foreseeable future. I can report that the Mexican lime crop is very good and goes very well in Mexican cervezas.
All right. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Weekend Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. And I wonder if anybody can hear Chewy snoring back here because he is. He's like, what? I wasn't snoring.
Sitting here, just basking in the sunlight.
Yeah, he likes to watch people in the window. He's like a surveillance camera.